When we look at the enzymes we looked at, you did amylase, you had pepsin, trypsin, lipase, you had disaccharidases. Okay, so these should be what you talked about a little bit with Mr. Connor. And when you look at it, your locations where these happen, so amylase is in the mouth, produced by salivary glands, and it's also found in the duodenum. Pepsin's found in the stomach. And what's special about pepsin? It needs a low pH to work. It needs a pH of about 2. Okay, so you need acid for it to work. Trypsin, you find it in the duodenum. Lipase in the duodenum. And disaccharidases in the duodenum. And if you need to know, amylase, it breaks down starch, which is the polysaccharide. Pepsin breaks down proteins, which are your polypeptides. Trypsin also helps break down proteins. Lipase breaks down lipids and fats. And disaccharidases break down. If lipase breaks down lipids, then disaccharidases break down disaccharides. Okay, there we go. All right, ask me 2 questions. Go. So let's go on to circulatory system. Yay, circulation. What are your functions of the circulatory system? Why do we have a what is the circulatory system? The goal is to move nutrients and waste around. So you're going to move your nutrients and waste around. You're going to control internal body temperature. And there is some fighting of disease. Okay, those are your key functions of the circulatory system. First and foremost, it's the transport system, and it moves things around. It's your transport system. It helps control the internal body temperature, and it also helps fight off disease. Okay? So when you start looking at the parts of it, you've got the parts of the... What are the parts of the circulatory system? You've got the heart, and then you have your blood vessels, which include veins, arteries, capillaries, arterioles, venules. Okay, that's this thing. And you also have blood. We always forget that the blood is actually part of the circulatory system. So if you were thinking of it as the transport system, so when we're moving nutrients around, the blood vessels are your highways. Okay? Highways are allowing things to move things efficiently around, correct? So the blood vessels are the transport system. The trucks, the cars, the trains, everything else that is actually moving on the system is your blood. Okay? So the blood is what carries the stuff. The roads or the blood vessels is how it transports. Now what does the heart do?
Pumps the blood.
It pumps it. It's the one that causes the movement. Okay, so the heart is the movement. It's the mover, and the blood is the transporter. And the blood vessels are the highways or the roads. When we look at circulation, we look at it in two sort of ways. We have at the center of it all is the heart. Okay? At the top we have the lungs. And I just put at the bottom we have the body. Okay? So, the goal is, in a human system or a mammalian system, you have the heart, the lungs, and the body. It's not the same in many birds. It's not the same in reptiles. It's not the same in fish. Okay? We have evolved to have this lovely four-chambered heart. And in grade 10 you might have talked about the four-chambered heart. A little bit. Okay? And you're like, but I don't remember that? That's okay. We'll go over it quickly. You have to remember, blood is a one-way system. Much like the Hamilton roads downtown, there's a lot of one-way streets. So you have to think of blood flow in a one way. The top part up here, from the heart and the lungs, we call that the pulmonary. Because pulmonary relates to the lungs. The bottom part, dealing with the heart and the body, is the systemic. Okay? So you've got pulmonary pertaining to the lungs and systemic pertaining to the rest of the body. Okay? And arteries, you learned last year all about arteries, yes? And you know that artery also equals away. Right? Artery away. And vein equals V-turn. Okay? So artery away, vein V-turn. Or return, whatever you want to call it. So, where do you want to start? What quadrant of the heart do you want? We'll go with A, B, C, or E. What do you want? A? Okay, we're going to start in the top right-hand corner. So the blood comes into the heart at the top. Blood always enters at the top. Okay, so the blood's going to come in here. And from the top it then goes to the bottom. It falls down. Okay? So you go from the top to the bottom. Okay? You did this in grade 10, I hope, yes? But some of you I don't remember any of this. And then from here, it basically is squished out to the lungs. Okay? So it goes to the top of the heart, down to the bottom, and then squished out. Okay? The big muscle part, if you eat heart, you're eating the bottom part. Because that's the squish. Okay? If you have a cardiac arrest, chances are that's where that's going to stop working. Cardiac meaning heart, arrest meaning stop. Okay? So usually it's the bottom part that's not doing its job properly. Then from the lungs, it returns to the top, because it's always coming back into the top of the heart. And then from the top it goes to the bottom. Okay? And then from the bottom, it gets squished out and goes to the body. And then from the body, it returns. I'm just going to mark these down. This is a pulmonary vein. This is the pulmonary artery, this one, and that's pulmonary vein over here. Okay? The big coming in here are your vena cavas. Okay, you have a top one that's coming from your upper body, the superior vena cava, superior meaning above, and then you have one coming from the rest of your lower body called the inferior vena cava. Okay, those are your big ones. Vena means vein. Oh, look at that. Why would I call this a pulmonary artery?
Because it's taking the blood away from the heart.
It's taking the blood away from the heart, and that's the artery part. Why is it pulmonary?
Going to the lungs.
It's going to the lungs, because pulmonary means lungs. Pulmonary vein, because it's returning from the lungs back to the heart. Okay? The biggest artery in your body is the one that leaves the heart. That is called the
Aorta.
The aorta, yes. So the aorta comes squirting out with a lot of pressure. That's where you get the greatest blood pressure, is in the aorta. That's why if you look at it, it has to be pretty sound. And if it gets thin, then you get a rupture of it, and then that's not good. Yes?
Where is that? The bottom right?
The aorta?
Yeah.
The aorta is right where the heart is, right here. But it basically comes out through the top of all the valves and things, or all the blood vessels squirt out through the top. Okay? So if you look at this, you can see that there's separation. I'm going to put a green line through here of the blood. Okay? On this side, okay, it's all deoxygenated. It means there's very little oxygen on this side of the circulation. Okay? On this side, over here, it's all oxygenated blood. So the oxygen was picked up in the lungs and put in the blood system. It was taken to the body and removed. The oxygen was removed so that it can go into the cells in the body. Yes? Because we need a lot of oxygen. We're aerobic. And then the CO2 is coming in and then goes up that way. So when you look at it, the systems, there's pulmonary and systemic, but there's also the deoxygenated side and the oxygenated side. Okay?